How you doing today, folks? I was up last night a little bit late. I couldn't get to sleep, and I started surfing YouTube, and I watched a video by a fella who had built a Holz Hausen, and I thought it was really funny because when the part of the video came where he was supposed to say, "And this is my Holz Hausen," he called it a Holden Hausen. Now, I don't know if this fella did this on purpose or not, but at first I was just like, wow, that's kind of weird. And then I was like, no, I think I actually kind of like it. So today I'd like to start a movement to change the name of a Holz Hausen to a Holden Hausen. I guess that's a testament to how many videos I made about these things. So while we're here today, I just want to kind of show you where I am for the 2014 version of the Holz Hausen. And also, I've started referring to my Holz Hausens or Holden Hausens as Holz Twinkies, because what I've started doing is rather than keeping them round, I make them long like a Twinkie, so I can just keep the Holz Hausen going. So this is our Holz Hausen right here, and that's about 6 feet high. And what I've started doing is I leave the top. I don't go fancy with the top, but I leave the top a little bit mounded, and then that way once, it hasn't rained for about 2 weeks, but once, and it's, what is it now? It's late August. So once we get a little bit later into the season, I can then go ahead and throw a tarp on the top so water doesn't get down the middle and all the wood stays dry. I've also noticed that, you know, when I did my original research, they said that usually it's about a 10-foot diameter circle. It's much easier to keep that stack tilted slightly inwards, the less acute the angle is, the circumference is. So here where it's basically straight, you see where I don't have any horizontal logs, whereas where I've got this tighter corner, you can see I had to mix in some horizontal logs there. So here's basically the inside of my Holden Hausen, and all you're really doing is you're just building a wall on the outside and throwing the wood on the inside, and it's just a much easier way to store a lot of wood very quickly. I know the first time you build one it doesn't seem so easy, but you can put a lot of wood. If I was going to make rows of all this wood, it would take up a lot of space. And the other nice feature of a Holden Hausen is, you know, it's a nice habitat for wildlife. Right there we've got what looks like it was either a red squirrel nest or a mouse nest, and I've already bumped into 2 of them when I was pulling wood out of this pile. So this pile of wood here, this is what I've got in store for the fall and the winter. And you know, I think I mentioned it in some other videos, but splitting the wood and cutting the wood, it's really not work to me. It's a sense of enjoyment. And I think of this as more like, you know, instead of going to the gym, I come out and split wood, and I find I'm in a better peace of mind when I do that. But this is what we've got going, and if I had to guess, I would say that's probably 8 or 10 cords by the time it's split. And a lot of this wood is nice because the trees were already dead, so they're pretty well seasoned. I still do have a few milling videos left in me. I just want to wait until we have some time and I can, you know, do it at a pace that's enjoyable as opposed to just trying to rush to get through it. I saved a couple of oak logs. This is a red oak, and then we've got a red oak here, and then this is some ash, which is what I filmed my original milling videos on. And I don't think I'm going to actually mill this ash. It's just a very hard, dry wood. So I think we're going to, you know, use this piece of ash either to put in the pile over there or to use underneath the wood when I'm milling it. And then I've got some tulip wood here, and my tulip wood, you know, was actually growing a tree. I mean, this tulip tree was cut down, I don't know, 3 months ago, and this log was sitting on the ground, so it stayed moist, but I'm pretty sure this tulip is not going to be seasoned for this winter. But what I actually want to do is I want to try milling some of it, and I know tulip rots pretty quickly outdoors, but you know, I've got some ideas to actually build like a stage to build a Holz Hausen on closer to the house, so I don't have to move it when the winter gets here. And then there's all the results. You know, the last week I did quite a bit of cutting, and there's all my noodles from cutting with the grain of the wood to make the logs a size that I could pick up. When I'm working with the wood, I try to make my logs a size that I can pick up without breaking my back. So on the wood pile, you'll see a lot of logs cut in half, and it just, even though it takes a little bit longer, I'd rather cut them in half. So when I come to splitting, all I have to do is pick them up and not worry about throwing my back out. Yeah. So that's a tour of our 2014 Holden Hausen. Once again, I'm going to put a link down below, and I'm going to start that video the fella made a few seconds before he says Holden Hausen. It's very flattering, you know, with all the videos I've made about the Holz Hausen. I don't know if I'm a subject matter expert, but when people think about Holz Hausens, they think of Holden Hausens. I think that's just awesome. So hey, thanks for watching today, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful day.